So in our last set of videos, we looked at our 6 trig functions on our unit circle, and we were using the following definitions here for our 6 trig functions. So right here in the middle, I've got a circle where we see the sine of our angle theta. The sine of theta is y over, we were calling it 1 because we were on the unit circle. The radius is 1 on the unit circle. Today we're going to look at some examples where we have a different radius. And then the cosine would be the x value over r, and the tangent would be the y value over x. So we're going to use these definitions of the trig functions to answer the questions today. So it might be handy if you took this page out of your notes packet, kind of set it beside you. So we're going to be referencing this page, and we're actually going to be looking at this unit circle too. So we're going to use these 2 pages to work the problems in today's notes. So make sure to have those available. It really helps you see where I'm getting some of my numbers from to have these out. Now when it comes time for the test, you're going to have learned all these definitions. But for today, obviously it's new, so we haven't learned it. So it's handy to have it right in front of you. All right. So I'm looking for this angle theta. We're supposed to find these 6 trig functions, these guys down here, at this point to -3. Now we are going to draw the triangle. It's important so that we really can see what quadrant we're in, so that we can make sure we have the correct positive or negative for our answers on these 6 trig functions. So I'm going to go over 2 and then down 3. So over 2, down 3, and then connect is how I draw my triangle. The same way I would graph the point. You go over and then either up or down, whether it's positive or negative y. So there's my triangle. So in this case, x was 2 and y was -3. So I'm going to have to do some work to solve for r. So I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem to do this because this is a right triangle, and r is the hypotenuse. So we could say the Pythagorean theorem, we usually see it written like a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Instead of a and b, I'm going to call these x and y, and the hypotenuse is the radius. So I'm going to plug in. I know x was 2. Be careful of that -3. Make sure to put it in parentheses. That's going to give me 4 plus 9 equals r squared. So 13 is equal to r squared. I'm going to take that square root, and r is equal to the square root of 13. So now I know what x, y, and r are. And I'm going to use those and plug them into my definitions of these 6 trig functions. So we said that sine, using that page, we've got them listed out, that page in our notes packet. I'm just going to copy them over here. Hopefully you pulled that page out. Sine was y over r, cosine was x over r, and tangent was y over x. And then the reciprocal functions are those flipped. R over y, r over x, x over y. So just the flip from sine to cosecant. Flip the numerator and denominator. All right, now I'm going to plug in x, y, and r for my problem. So y was -3 and r was the square root of 13. And I can leave my answer just like that. I can stop. I don't have to rationalize the denominator. X is 2 and r is the square root of 13. And the tangent, y is -3 and x was 2. Make sure every time we're putting in y, we're putting in that -3. All right, so you pause the video and see if you can finish those remaining 3 trig functions. Just like I do in class, really try it. I'm going to go over it, but I really think it helps for you to practice before we go over it. If you need to rewatch some of this before you try, totally fine. Rewatch, then pause and try. All right, let's see how you did. So r is the square root of 13 and y is -3. I'm just going to put the negative out front. You could leave it in the bottom if you wanted to. R is the square root of 13, x is 2, and then x is 2, and r is x is 2 and y is -3. So I'm going to just put the negative out front, but if you wanted to leave it in the bottom, you could. I'm just going to rewrite that over here so we can see it is -2/3. Make sure that we can see those negative signs. Rewatch as many times as you need to.